All right. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. So, today we're talking about your pricing strategy for your massage business. We're going to be talking about why this is important. And then we're going to be doing a quick demo so you could see how you can use this in real life. And you'll also have some tools to take home with you to get started on revamping your massage pricing. All right, so this is what we're talking about for today. And then we also have 3 more days of training. And again, this is the first live stream, and we'll have a couple more later. So let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Ayana. I'm a massage therapist. I've been a massage therapist um, for 7 years now. Been in the industry. I own a spa here in Florida. I know I wanted to start with a little icebreaker and share like a fun fact about myself and then get into the training. So, a fun fact about me, if I were to think of something on the spot, is I used to write snail mail. So I used to write like pen pal letters to people in different countries to learn languages. Don't do it as much anymore, but it's still something that I really like and appreciate. So yeah, so let's get on into it. So the reason why I'm making this training is because I help massage therapists really revamp their business and become full-time entrepreneurs and really leave the spa industry because we know that we do so much work in the spa industry. We work so much, and oftentimes we don't get paid nearly as much as we should for it. And with this type of service, we're doing this body work. It's not only a physical exchange, but it's an energetic exchange. And so we should be compensated for it. So when you go out on your own, it's really important to know how to price your own services. All right. So, and why is this important? So, this is important because a lot of small business owners don't understand how to price their services. And because they don't understand how to price their services, oftentimes you're not making a profit. And so, when you're not making a profit, you're unable to pay yourself. And it's very common for small business owners to not pay themselves enough. And so, what you'll see is that some business owners will take on part time jobs or not be able to leave their part time job, maybe working at the spa, working at a chiropractic office. But the goal is to be on your own if that's what you desire and make sure that you're getting compensated for your services. And I know this is something that I struggled with when I first started. I struggled with figuring out how to price my services. When I first started, I was pricing my services pretty low. I was offering deals a lot. I didn't have the correct mindset to be able to know that I could price my services at more premium prices. And it was hard for me to even ask people to rebook for me or rebook in my practice because to me that's almost like asking for money. And I know it seems kind of off to not feel comfortable to do that, but I definitely was nervous about that in the beginning because just because of my mindset and things like that. So yeah, so like I mentioned before, I really had struggle with pricing my services at premium prices. If you see here, I found like an old screenshot of when I used to be on Instagram because I didn't have a website, and I was charging pretty low. At least I was charging a price that didn't align with how I felt about my services. And because I was doing that, sometimes I'd feel kind of resentful or feel like really drained, and I didn't feel energized. And so that's something to think about throughout this lesson is just think about what would make you feel energized to do your services. What are your services worth? So you don't want to charge a price that is less than what you think your services are worth. So we're going to get into that. But I went from that, when I started my business in 2018, a couple years ago, to now having the courage to price premium pricing. So now I can ask for $400 at a time. I think my biggest package is 1170, and the first time someone paid that price without even having to meet me, without even having to see me in person, and just went online and paid for a package for for that much for spa services, I was astounded. It definitely helped me reframe my mindset. And it's possible. And a lot of people don't think it is possible to get paid that much for a massage, but it just depends on what you do and how urgently your customer wants to get in touch with your services. All right. And then I included this cute little meme, yesterday's price is not today's price, because it's true. Yesterday's price is not today's price. There are some massage therapists who raise their prices, after, getting their clientele. But I do want you to know that you do not have to start off at next to nothing or working for free when you are starting off, even if you just came out of massage school. All right. So let's see. Let me see if I can see the chat. So there are 3 ways that I see massage therapists pricing their services. The main way is pricing it through what feels good. So if you choose a price that feels good, like you just kind of pull a number out the air and you think, okay, that seems about right. So that's one way I've seen people price their services. The second way I've seen people price their services is based on their competition. Do you price your services based on your competition, which is looking at the other people around you and thinking, okay, this person is charging this much. They do the same thing I do. Let me be $5 cheaper. Or I see this person over here charging this much. Let me be, $10 more. Do you look at the people around you and think, okay, I have to price based off of that? And then the third way that I see people pricing their services is with trial and error. So just seeing what works, seeing what sticks, seeing what would be, what would attract their client to them. So I've seen people experiment with pricing a little bit lower and seeing if that would attract anyone, or pricing higher to see if they could get away with it. But again, you see the words I'm using, like it's all about mindset, like get away with pricing that much. You really want to choose a price that really feels good to you. And I want to see if there's a way I can see the chat. One second. Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, so we're just gonna continue. Let me see. Let me look over here. Okay. All right. So those are the 3 main ways that I've seen people price their services. And we're going to talk about why some of these ways are problematic and what you could be doing differently. All right. So again, I've seen some people price their services based off of what you want, but not necessarily what you need. So that is kind of like pulling a number out of thin air, but there's no strategy behind it. And the reason why you don't want to do that is because you can miss opportunities when you do that. Or also, you may not be making a profit when you do that because you're not taking in account your expenses or what it takes to even run your business. The second way I've seen people price their services is based off of what the competition is doing. And sometimes that can be problematic because it doesn't take into account how you're unique from your competition. There may be something that is unique about them that gives them a certain position to price their services the way that they price, and it attracts their clients. Just like how there's something unique about you that will set you apart. Therefore, you don't need to be looking at the competition to price your services. Another way I see is choosing a price that doesn't examine your expenses. And so I like to call that an employee mindset, because when we're an employee, we don't think about what it costs to be a part of the business that we're working for. The person who writes the checks, they're thinking about that. And it often determines, what you get paid, or at least they think it does. But again, you don't want to have an employee mindset, because you want to, if you're the business owner, you want to take into account the expenses so that you can make a profit, because you're going to be the one paying yourself. You're not relying on someone else to pay you. So those are the 3 ways that I've seen people price their services and why that can be problematic. And I do want to get into what I recommend, and then we'll do a quick demo. And then, yeah, so let's talk about some key things that you might need to know before you think about pricing your services. So, your profit, it's a pretty simple calculation. It's just going to be your revenue or your sales minus your costs minus your expenses, and that would be your profit. So, that's a really important calculation to know. It's pretty simple. It's just revenue minus the cost minus the expenses. And then we'll talk about the distinction between costs and expenses very soon. That's why it's very important to keep track of your expenses and your cash flow. So I do have a track your expenses worksheet that I give out for free. It's a very simple one, but it's great if you get like email notifications for like the different expenses that you have or that you incur in your business. And if you just go through those emails or go through your notifications or go through your bank statements, you can plug it in and see what you're actually spending to make your business run. And what's cool about massage is that there's usually not a whole lot of expenses or things that you need to get to start doing massage. Oftentimes, you just need yourself, a table, some supplies, and you can travel to your clients. That's why mobile massage I highly recommend starting off that way if you're wanting to build and scale your business, because the cost to run that type of business is very, very low. And I want to talk about the two main pricing models that people use to price their services. So the first one, and we kind of touched on it before, but the first one is cost-based pricing. That's what the CBP represents. And then there's value-based pricing. So with cost-based pricing, you're examining your costs and you're using this formula right here. So profit equals revenue minus costs minus expenses. So that's going to be your cost-based pricing. That's what it takes into account. And then your value-based pricing, that's going to be, the perceived value of your massage services. And what's really interesting is that with massage, it's harder to see the perceived value of massage, especially if you've never had a massage before or it's not like a part of your daily care or monthly routine. Um, just like with necklaces or like, actual products, it's a little bit easier to see the value of that because you can easily show it, on a model and show like the benefits. Even with like foods or drinks, you can show like the benefits of having certain products. But when it comes to services, it's a little bit harder to show like how this can change someone's life. So next, I want to talk about some strategies that you can use to price your services. And then we're going to do a demo of how this works in real life. All right, so the first strategy is what I like to call stacking or packaging. I think it's better known as packaging. So this is really big in my business. So what I mentioned before is that I remember when I first got a customer that was willing to pay over $1,100 just to have massage services done by me and my team. Like that blew my mind, especially because even after that sale, I've had that same sale, but without even having to meet the client. Like they're just going online and purchasing the package and not even talking to me or talking to anyone on the team or even like been with us yet. So when that started happening, I was like, okay, there's something to this. I'm not pricing too little. I'm definitely worth this money, even though it's a 4-digit number, because 4-digit numbers can be scary if you're not used to it. But once you start to get used to it, it just completely changes your perspective and your mindset. But that was through packages. So to have a package, it's like there's two ways to do this. There's packages and there's stacking. So for example, you could have a massage service, but you have different add-ons. So if you do this type of service, then you can have aromatherapy, or you could have hot stones, or you can have, this other experience. So it's kind of like showing what you could have, but also if you add this and this, it could be better. It's kind of like having an upsell, I guess you could say. I guess that's the terminology they would use in retail. But yeah, it's like upselling your services, because if you're already getting a massage, it probably sounds nice to do hot towels or to do, um, you know, some type of hot stones or something unique to add to the experience. And then with packaging, it's kind of similar. It's like you can include things into a package, but it's like paying for services up front. So paying for multiple services at once. And that's really great if you specialize in something, especially oncology massage or lymphatic drainage massage. Um, or even prenatal massage, if someone is looking to have more massage services throughout their pregnancy. So it's great to specialize in something if you use stacking and packaging. And another benefit of using these methods is that it increases your cash flow. So you get more cash up front so that you can make different business decisions, whether you need to invest in getting this for your business or you want to pay yourself or whatever you use your cash flow for, you kind of get it up front ahead of time. So that is what I really like about stacking and packaging. So we kind of talked about this, the benefits of packaging and stacking. We talked about how it kind of upsells your services, it increases your cash flow. Also, one thing I didn't mention is that it gives you a higher perceived value. If someone is paying $1,170 for my services, it probably means that they believe in my service and know that it's going to be effective for them, or know that they're going to benefit from it, or they know that it's going to be a great investment in themselves. And they probably know that there's a lot coming with it, because there's a lot of ways that you can stack things into a package. Another thing that's great with packaging and stacking is, you'll have a higher client retention. If they're paying that much upfront, or if they're adding different types of services onto their service, their original service, they're more likely to come back to you, because they'll remember that they had such a great experience, especially if you really deliver when you do the session or have someone from your team do the session. So that's what I really like about that. All right, so let's talk about the next strategy. So the next strategy is called premium pricing. It's similar to packaging because you can charge a little bit more for it. But it's when you have something that's a little bit more high ticket. And I feel like in the massage world, anything over maybe $100, $120 would be considered kind of high ticket, like high end in terms of pricing. And I also like to call it diamond pricing, because of some case study I was reading. I was doing research on something and I came across a company, a diamond company. They make diamonds, like man-made diamonds, but they found a way to do it like above ground, without anyone getting hurt. And it's very inexpensive to make. And it looks exactly like a diamond, but it's less expensive to make. And what they could do, they could have charged for these diamonds, make it less expensive because it was less expensive to make. But instead, they price their diamonds higher end, just like, a regular diamond, even though it wasn't a regular diamond, because it has more perceived value. Because you wouldn't want to buy a diamond that's like $50. You'd probably think that there's something wrong with that diamond. So that's why I like calling it the diamond pricing. But it's essentially, this is when you price your services, your bodywork services, a little bit more high end, and you give it more perceived value. And you can do this in a number of ways. You can do this by, throwing different add-ons into the pricing. So instead of like upselling for different add-ons, you're throwing it in. So that could be, every time you get an hour session, that you're going to be getting hot stones and a hot towel or some type of unique experience that you like to do in your practice. And that's why, this session is this price. So let's look at the benefits of this. So again, a higher perceived value. It can attract the clients that you want to work with. Oftentimes, if you're giving a lot of deals and you're pricing your services, for less than what they need to be, or less than what you feel comfortable with, you'll find people who want to negotiate with you, people who want to haggle. Sometimes that happens. It doesn't always happen. And you still want to give them a great experience, if that does happen. But yeah, so this can attract the clients that you want to work with, which is why it helps to know like who your ideal client is. And then again, with this, you have a higher cash flow, and we'll get to that later, what that really means. And people who have like a premium service are more likely to spread the word. So they're more likely to give you a review, a testimonial, especially if you really wowed them and, gave them their money's worth. It wouldn't make sense to have premium pricing and you didn't give your client their full time, or gave them a cold towel or something instead of a hot towel or something silly like that. That wouldn't make sense at all. So yeah, so with this, you still want to make sure your work is, has that wow factor when you're using premium pricing. So let's talk about the next strategy. So the next strategy is combining value-based pricing with cost-based pricing. So this is what I recommend, and this is what we're going to do a demo for. So let's see. So with value-based pricing, again, it's the perceived value of something. Oftentimes, if something is more expensive, you might think that it's better for you. It's like, if I were to see a massage for like $20, I'd kind of wonder, is the person licensed? These are the questions that I'd probably have. And of course, they're judgments, and of course, they're like, assumptions. It's not always true, but that might come to my mind because of perceived value. And then cost-based pricing just talks about your expenses and if you're making a profit. So it's just a consideration when you're choosing your price. Let's see. And so the benefits of this and why I recommend this method is because it is more strategic. It's not like pulling a number out of thin air. A lot of times you can justify a price if you know why you're doing it. If you don't know why you're pricing your service the way you're pricing it, even if you feel good about the price, you might, have doubts and things like that. Also, it takes takes into account your expenses, so that you can make a profit, which is, this third point. And then it can be energetically fulfilling. So I definitely believe in like the energetic side of all of this business stuff. I definitely have had experiences where, I do a great job doing a massage service, but I'm not getting paid well. Maybe I'm making like barely minimum wage for doing it, especially if I'm working in like a doctor's office or something. And energetically, I feel drained. I'm less likely to feel like excited about doing the work because, what I'm getting paid does not match how I feel about the service. It doesn't match my perceived value of it. All right. So now that we went through all that information, let's see. We're going to do a quick demo about how this works. Yeah, so again, I do have this free spreadsheet right here. This is just some random input here, but this is how you can like track your expenses. Of course, there are easier ways to track your expenses, but if you're not wanting to pay for any software and you're just getting started, this could be another option. But if you wanted to, automate, tracking your expenses, I would probably recommend QuickBooks, which we can talk about later. But for example, let's say your equipment costs like $110. You have software, QuickBooks, and it's $25 a month. You just want to make sure that you add up all your expenses so that you know what your operating costs are. What does it cost to run your business? So that can be some homework. Think about all the costs it would take to run your business. And let's see, let's use this in a demo. Okay. So hopefully you can see this pretty well. So I'm just going to run through this, how I would strategically price services. So let's talk about direct costs. So let's do an example of, you want to figure out how to price your spa massage. And let's say it's 60 minutes. And so let's think about the direct costs to provide this service. So your direct costs, let's see, are going to be what you need to do a service. So this could be like your table. This could be like your oils. This could be your sheets. And what I like to do, a really quick calculation I like to do, is add all those things up and just divide it by 30. That's like dividing it by 30 days. Because I like to think, this is how much it costs to have it just for like one day. So let's say all that added up to $50. And then you want to think about your indirect costs to provide the service. So your indirect costs are going to be like your overhead, like your operational costs, the things that we tracked in that other spreadsheet. So this is going to be like your accounting software. What's another example? Just all the things that you need to run the business. This is going to be like your payment processor, or or your website, like things like that. Your ad spend, if you're spending money on ads. And I like to use the same calculation, like add all those things up, what you use in a month, to run your business, and dividing it by 30, because I would think that that's what it takes to run your business just in one day, what you're spending a day to run your business. And so you add that together, and then total time to provide the service. So this is what you want to get paid out of that. So what you want to get paid out of that. So let's say you want to get paid like $40 an hour for your service. This is going to be what you'd like to take home from that, because we already calculated your direct costs, your indirect costs, and all of that. And now we want to figure out, like, what do you want to get paid on top of that? So that's calculated. And then, so we got $123. And then after seeing the strategic price, think about what would be your ideal price. So what would you ideally want to price? So that's where we're combining the cost base. Everything over here is kind of like your cost base stuff. And then this is kind of like the perceived value, like what would feel good to you. It's like you see the strategic price, you see what you could take home, but what would be like the price that feels good to you? So let's say that this is 135. I think 135 would be good. Cool. And then extra is kind of like your cushion. So maybe this is like gas if you're mobile. Maybe this is like your payment processor. If you collect credit cards using like a payment processor, that's not cheap. They do take like a percentage of that. So even though you're charging this much, what actually ends up in your bank account is going to be a little bit less. So maybe you account for that with this little extra cushion. And so this lets you know what your total price of the service is going to be. It's the price you think is ideal, plus, what is the cost-based service stuff. And then that lets you know what your price is going to be. And we're actually not going to worry about this over here. We'll talk about it briefly. So this is what maybe you'd want to put back into the business, what you'd keep for yourself and your time. And that comes out of the total cost of the service, because you will have, when you own a business, you'll have some type of taxes. So you do want to put aside some money when you get paid for taxes, and put aside money for paying yourself, making sure that you can pay yourself. So we just calculated what this would be. And this is something that I provide my students in my program when we talk about the finances and the financial side of running your business. But again, I do have this spreadsheet at no cost. It's just, I think it's in the bio of my Instagram, and you can have that, no problem. But again, just to recap this, you want to think about what are the direct costs to provide your service. So again, this could be this could be your oils, your sheets, anything like that. This could even be incorporating like what you pay your team, like how much you want to pay them. So let's say you want to pay them $30 or something, but your costs, your other direct costs are like $20. You'd probably consider that, and that would be $50. Your indirect costs, that's going to be your overhead. So that's going to be like your website, your software, your accounting software, your phone service, your utilities, even like your if you rent space somewhere, you would add that all up and divide by 30. That's the calculation I like to use, just to know what I'm spending like in a day. All right. And then this is going to be the total time to provide the service. So this is what ideally you'd want to get paid. And this could be really any number that feels good to you. If you were to take a profit out, what would that be? So this could be $50, it could be $60, really doesn't matter. And then, so that gives you this price. And then you want to consider this and then think about what is the value of the service? Like, what all is included? Think about the direct costs. Like, are there hot stones? Are there special oils? You want to take that into account when you are thinking about your direct costs. And then you have your extra cushion. That's going to be like your payment processing fees and all that good stuff. So that gives you a rundown of how to strategically figure out your prices. It's a good frame of reference, especially if you get kind of stuck on the mindset side of things and you're still uncomfortable with pricing your services a little bit more than that want to. And then also think about when you think about what calculation you come to, if that feels good to you, if that literally feels good, like energetically for you. All right, so another summary. So choose a price that is strategic so that you know that you can make a profit and pay yourself. Choose a price that attracts your clientele. So that's going to be the perceived value that we just calculated. And make sure that it reflects the work that you do. Because again, you cannot, be charging $200 an hour and you're not giving your clients exactly what they need or solving their problems or, giving them experience. And then point number 3 is just, you want to choose a price that energetically fulfills you. So even after doing your calculations and figuring that out, you really want to choose a price that, feels good to you. If you don't like what you see when you do your calculations, add a little bit more to it or less. Just depends on how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your services and what you believe that you offer. But yeah, that is all I have for today. I feel like homework, if you were to work on this outside of this lesson, would definitely be to think about the expenses that it would take to run your business. Do a little bit of research. So if you haven't started yet at all, um, just think about like what would you need. It's like we know we need, something to book services with. We know we need like a phone number to accept phone calls. And you can really start with the bare minimum and scale up. And you can really take your time and try to get the best prices. You do not need to get the high end stuff right off the bat, especially if you're not making a profit yet, and especially if you're not, um, you know, having like a larger cash flow in the very beginning. So it's okay to like kind of skimp a little bit as long as you're getting what you pay for at the end of the day. Like I know when I started with like a track phone to take phone calls. It was just like a track phone. It was like $25. I want to say it was like $10 a month because I didn't get like the unlimited plan because I knew I wasn't gonna use that many minutes or anything. But that helped me scale because in the beginning I wasn't spending so much on this and this and that. And that's why this is a great opportunity for mobile massage therapists because you don't have to dish out thousands of dollars on a space if you can be mobile and create some income, keep a good cash flow, manage it well, and scale from there. But that is all I have. This was definitely an interesting live stream because I definitely don't understand how to use this streaming software at all. So I think in the future, I'm definitely just going to stream on YouTube and not even mess with Zoom, maybe mess with Zoom, but it's definitely gonna get better. But I know for tomorrow, we are talking about, marketing, how to create your marketing strategy, and I'm definitely excited for that because that is a really, really, really big question that I get a lot, and it doesn't even sound like people don't even say, "What is a good marketing strategy?" What they really say is, "How do I get clients? How do I bring people to me? Or how do I go and get them?" And to me, the answer is, understanding your marketing and creating a plan for it. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And there'll definitely be a lot more participation because I'm definitely going to figure out the streaming thing and be a little bit more prepared. But I think this wasn't so bad for the first lesson. I think we kind of learned a lot. Hopefully I gave it a lot of good food for thought and some notes were taken, and we understand how to price our services, because I'm tired of seeing low prices for massage when I know y'all are doing phenomenal work and really putting your all into your business. Like, we're done doing that. It's 2022. But all right, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream, and I will see y'all tomorrow at the same time. For day 2, we're going to be putting together our marketing plan. We're going to really be debunking how do we get our clients and really planning this out. And we're going to be doing it in such a short amount of time. And with the lesson, you'll be able to follow along yourself, on your own computer. But yeah, that is all I have. And I will see y'all later. Bye.